according to Morgan Stanley, analysts are looking at Bitcoin. They're saying it's trading more like a risk stock or a speculative stock than it is a currency necessarily. Why does this matter? Well, let's look at the last 2 weeks. Let's look at what's happening with all these banks exploding. Bitcoin sits in this narrative where it is an alternative banking system as well as an alternative currency. And then we look at the trading patterns and can kind of see like which way it's leaning at the current moment. With all these banks going under, SVB, Signature, Silvergate, we are seeing Bitcoin possibly trade more so as a speculative token of sorts rather than a currency, meaning people are putting weight more into the narrative of Bitcoin being your own bank or Bitcoin being digital gold, Bitcoin being your own personal vault in Switzerland versus being a currency of sorts. And I do like this opinion, and I think it has traded that way. The most informative trading days we've seen, I think, over the last few weeks has been on Friday of last week when we heard about SVB, and then also on Monday afterwards when all the contagion through the weekend took course, and Monday morning things seemed a little bit more normal. Bitcoin shot up on Monday. I think this week is about up 20% or so, up to $24,000. It's retraced a little bit. But on Friday of last week, it actually dropped a little bit back down to $20,000. So we're definitely seeing some trading action around narratives. The question, however, is who is buying and who is selling? The common question in Bitcoin. Zach, over to you.
Seems like we're having this debate over and over again. The currency versus asset. You know, currency is in the name, cryptocurrency, so people get hung up on it like it's meaningful. I feel like this needs to be put to bed. I mean, like Bitcoin is what it is. It can be used as a currency. It's treated often as an asset. It can be both. Hey, why not? We don't have to do this sort of binary dance where it's like, oh, it's not a currency, it's a speculative asset. Like, okay, like great. I mean, a lot of this report highlights, hey, this is its moment to shine. This is what it's all about, right? An alternative place to store wealth. And why don't we just like let it be that? Like let the orange coin do its thing. Let it be what some people think is a safer place to park money than in other options that may be available to them. I'm just tired of this currency versus asset thing. I don't know. Jen?
I had the exact same view, and I knew you were going to say that when you had that little smirk. And so, Will, this is my question to you, because you went in a totally different direction than I thought you were going to go. Bitcoin hasn't traded like a currency for this felt like a whole lot of nothing. Like Morgan Stanley came out and was like, oh, this recently happened. We got to put a report out about Bitcoin. And as these banks fall, Bitcoin isn't trading on that ethos on the Bitcoin white paper that came out over a decade ago. But I think that's okay. I think that the conversation really has been that there are alternatives outside of the traditional financial system. And as those alternatives become more mainstream, of course, they're going to be more correlated with the traditional financial system. So, Will, my question to you is, why do you like this?
Okay, well, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm always impressed with banking reports. I'm not super impressed with this one either. I think there's better places to get alpha than banking reports, namely crypto Twitters. We're going to get a little bit better information than this. That being said, I think they are right. Like Bitcoin is still a speculative asset. It's not necessarily currency yet. Zach, to your point, I think it's fair. Like, is it an asset? Is it a currency? Well, let's look at the dollar. It's the same thing, right? It's both a currency and an asset. I can go buy gumballs with dollars, but I can also go trade dollars on international exchanges as a Forex tool. Bitcoin is in the same way, but it's not quite there with dollars or other fiat currencies where I really just think of it as a currency, purely as a currency. There's always going to be like this ability to use it for multiple use cases. And as crypto and Bitcoin itself matures more and more, we're going to start losing that speculative asset side. Bitcoin's going to become boring. That road to boring is really just a price story. At some point, it's going to be flat, maybe 20, 40, 50 years from now. Right now, we're not there. We're still in the speculative age. It's going to go up. It's going to go down. Last thought on this, maybe to answer your point, Jen, I think it does bear some questioning who is buying Bitcoin right now because the narrative has been shifting so fast. I think it's Bitcoin holders just buying into all this contagion right now. I don't think a lot of people are rotating out of tech stocks or rotating out of banking stocks into Bitcoin. It seems a little bit too fast. Zach, over to you.
Road to gumballs, people. Road to gumballs. You heard it here first.